Sorry, guys. Hope everyone's doing well. Having a wonderful weekend. Took me a moment to get my encoding software connected. Anyway, let's get this going here. Hope you guys have your coffee. Let's get into the news here. Good morning to all of you guys. Okay, hold on. Okay, so yeah, it looks like we should have sound going. Perfect. Okay. So everything should be working. All right, let's get started here. Morning news. Let's look at the current news. So right now, the news is, as you guys know, they're taking their time. It's almost like the news is scripted, and they're just bringing a delay into this. Okay, and again, there could be. If you were to ask me and say, hey, what do you think the main reason for the delay is? I would give you one of two possible reasons, because again, nobody knows. There's no guidebook in this and all that. One of two things could be Trump has made it very clear. Trump said that he will not tolerate or allow any type of Iranian influence within the country of Iraq, and now we are positioned to possibly go after them within a time period of about 10 to 15 days, okay? So it could be the Iranian influence. The other aspect it could be is when you guys notice the actions of the central bank, they don't do anything without scheduling it, okay? Well, bankers are the groups and the individuals that drafted this entire rate change, meaning it's most likely scheduled, okay? So they could have the formation of the government timed and structured right around what could be a scheduled rate change date. Just a couple possibilities here, okay? Things we're observing, looking for. Let's get into today's news. First article here. All right, how long will the exchange rate continue and rise? And what are its direct repercussions for Iraqis, okay? Within this article here, it says the main issue, the parallel exchange rate of the US dollar against the Iraq dinar has risen sharply. I think today it's around 153,000 per 100 US dollars, I believe is where it's at as of this morning. Okay, so again, that's going to raise their inflation, and the back end cost of Iraqi consumer goods is going to be going up as well. So anyway, so that's going up right now. And what it is, it says how long will the rise continue, whether it reflects a real dollar shortage. Also, yeah, if they don't have a lot of dollars for travelers exiting the country too, because they don't allow dollars for use within the country of Iraq anymore. That ended a little over a year ago, at the beginning of 25. Its impact on Iraqi citizens' daily lives, large segments of the economy being excluded from formal financial channels, small traders, that kind of thing. And so there you go. And I think they might use the US dollar more on, like it, they might still be using the US dollar to a small extent with small markets, like if you and I went to a swap meet, something like that, okay? So anyway, because right now they might not allow or have a lot of physical dinar cash in circulation by design, though, because they told us as of July they're going cashless of this year of 26. So it says right here, despite the rise in the parallel rate, basic commodities, food, medicine are largely protected. Over 95% of the traders in essentials goods access dollars through the official system at the approximate rate. So they're suggesting here just more on the, like, where the private markets are, like smaller markets, almost like a swap meet, is where they might use dollars and so forth still. But overall, throughout the country, they don't really allow and use the US dollar. This is the US Embassy here. They set this coming Sunday, being tomorrow, okay, again tomorrow, US sets deadline for Iraqi Shiite bloc to name alternative PM candidate separate from Nuri al-Maliki, okay? Right here, and again, that's tomorrow, Sunday. Says the United States, through the United States Embassy in Baghdad, has reportedly given the Shiite political leaders within the coordination framework a 48-hour deadline to select a replacement candidate for a different prime minister instead of Nuri al-Maliki, okay? The source told Kurdistan 24 that the embassy set Sunday as the final date for the decision on Maliki's candidacy, prompting intensified consultations among framework leaders to agree on an alternative nominee. Now, you're going to see a lot more articles throughout today's news strongly suggesting Maliki's out and that Sudani's the preferred top guy to go with, okay? There's a lot of that this morning. Political deadlock and a threat of sanctions, a map of risks facing the coordination framework. Political deadlock and a threat of sanctions, a map of risks facing the coordination framework. The political process in Iraq is experiencing one of its most complex phases following the recent elections, with the three top leadership positions remaining unresolved, particularly to the premiership, which has become the primary point of contention among political forces between the coordination framework Sunni component and the Kurdish component. Internal calculations intertwine with external pressures amid fears that any ill-considered decision could lead to a new wave of political, economic, and security crisis. Since the election results was announced, the main blocs have entered into a series of negotiations and compromise to dispute top positions. Anyway, so they're claiming they're in a political deadlock. But as you guys see, neither the UN nor the US is providing any type of mediation or resolution to this. Okay? So again, are they really in a political deadlock when there's no outside resolution influence coming in? They've always had that in past years and elections. Next article. Hold on here, guys. I'm trying to see. Yeah, right here. We already kind of covered this one about the threat of U.S. sanctions. We've known about that for a while. That's nothing new. Let's look at this one here. So right here, Barzani discusses with the delegation from the Dawa Party the mechanisms for forming a strong and capable Iraqi government. The Islamic Dawa Party announced today, Saturday, its official delegation was visited Erbil, the capital of the Kurdistan region, met with the president of the Kurdistan Democratic Party, Barzani, noting that the two sides discussed expediting the formation of the next Iraqi government. On Friday evening, a high-level delegation from the Islamic Dawa Party arrived in Erbil during its official visit to the Kurdistan region. A statement issued by the party today during the meeting, the issue of constitutional entitlements were discussed in addition to discussing mechanisms for forming a strong and capable government that can meet the aspirations of the citizens and enhance the stability of political process in the country, while emphasizing the need to expedite the completion of these entitlements within the constitutional legal framework. The entitlements, guys, are the brand new reforms coming forward. Things like revenues to the citizens for like the oil and gas law. You know, they're entitlements, okay? Revenues, or more like entitlements from Article 140, that kind of thing. So, things that they're entitled per the Constitution, and that's why they said constitutional entitlements. And that's exactly what the oil and gas law and Article 140 both are. Let's look at the next article. All right, here we go. Now we're going to get into some articles that strongly show and reveal Sudani is the best choice selection. And as you guys know, he's on just an overall level, he has done the most and has been the most successful for the entire country as a prime minister. He would be the best individual to introduce Iraq and walk them out, leading them back onto the world stage. The Sudanese solution, as it was the first time, will be the solution for a second time. There you go. So in this article, amid the complexities of the Iraqi political landscape, the escalation signs of deadlock, the name of Prime Minister Sudani has resurfaced as the most realistic option for restructuring the political system and preventing the country from sliding into further turmoil. According to observers, he was not merely a conventional candidate within the existing power-sharing arrangements, but rather the architect of a series of initiatives aimed at addressing the root causes of the crisis. From the very first signs of disagreement within the coordination body, al-Sudani proposed the electoral weight approach as a criterion for determining entitlements, attempting to link political decisions to the ballot box. When this initiative failed to gain a consensus, he shifted to proposing professional standards and specifications as a basis for agreement that transcends factional calculations. Again, he is the most qualified person and the most well-liked, respected person around the world. And he's done the most for the country, the citizens. He's the best individual to introduce and return Iraq back on the world stage. All right, an article in the Washington Times, Iraqi politics resembles professional wrestling, and Sudani is at the heart of the royal battle. Okay, again, this is another article similar to the last. He's the most qualified, preferred person to introduce Iraq back on the world stage. He's done the most. He's accomplished the most. He's the most respected, the most well-liked by the citizens, achieving stability and so forth, turning the overall country around with current infrastructure improvements and upgrades. Right here, okay, did Sudani, next article, did Sudani make a mistake by giving into Nouri al-Maliki? Okay, political controversy has resurfaced as questions mount regarding the Prime Minister Sudani's decision to relinquish his right to the premiership in favor of Nouri al-Maliki at what was described as the most sensitive moment in the government formation process, between those who deemed the move politically hasty and those who saw it as a calculated national sacrifice. The question remains, did al-Sudani truly err, or did he simply assess the situation with excessive pragmatism? A group of observers believe that al-Sudani, as one of the most prominent electoral winners, was not obligated to back down in the force of party wills or internal pressures. According to this view, we should have gone further in demanding the application of the Constitution and respect for the election results, and let the balances take their natural course under the umbrella of electoral legitimacy. So, there's more. This is not the only one. Hold on. There was another one that I was trying to find, and it literally stated that it actually, again, right here it is. Right, I wanted to show this one to you guys right here. Okay, this one actually shows you Prime Minister Sudani, actually, his political group actually won the elections. Yeah, they actually won. It says right here, again, these are from the key points right here. Let's look at the title real quick. It says, an article in the Washington Times, Iraqi politics resembles professional wrestling, and Sudani is at the heart of the royal battle. Right here, here's the real results of the elections. Mohammed Sudani, his party won 46 of 329 seats, topping election results. So again, Sudani and his political bloc actually won the elections, just so you guys know. Okay? Hold on, I was going to read part of the article here. Actually, let's just go to the key points. Central metaphor, battle royale politics. This article compares Iraqi politics to professional wrestling. Temporary alliances formed to eliminate strong competitors. Outcomes may be unexpected and shaped behind the scenes. Backroom deals may outweigh electoral legitimacy. Focus on the Prime Minister, Mohammed Sudani. His party won 46 of 329 seats, topping election results. Nearly 100 days past the election, he has not secured a majority to renew his term. His tenure is described as relatively stable, improved security environment, economic progress, anti-corruption efforts. His electoral strength is attributed to personal popularity. Again, he's done the most. Okay? Concerns about extended rule. Some factions are wary of him staying in power. That's not a concern. Fear of prolonged leadership concentration, referred to as the specter of Saddam Hussein. Yeah, they're trying to compare Sudani the same as Saddam Hussein. A historical caution about long-term rule. Other political candidates discussed. Again, these are other possible candidates, alternatives. Mustafa al-Kadhimi, Nouri al-Maliki, Haider al-Abadi. These three have already been prime ministers. These are not new candidates. These three already were prime ministers. None of these three accomplished anything close to what Sudani has done for the overall country, along with earning everyone's respect. Core argument: strongest candidates could be sidelined through political maneuvering. A comprehensive consensus candidate might emerge. The candidate may not reflect popular choice. Framing of al-Sudani: portrayed as willing to prioritize national stability over personal ambition, right there. Because he's done the most. And he put himself last. He put the country and the citizens first. His earlier withdrawal is framed as a sign of political maturity. Overarching theme: Iraq deserves stable leadership, decisions reflecting voter will. Strategic takeaway: when combined with today's other reports, growing narrative pressure around Maliki's viability, increasing soft promotion of Sudani as a compromise, rising references. So anyway, we've got to see how this plays out. But again, in the news right now, they're saying that the U.S. has given the framework until tomorrow, Sunday, to put an alternative candidate in place of Maliki. We'll see how that plays out in tomorrow's news. All right, guys, I'm just seeing if there's really, again, the news overall is light right now. There's not a lot of major things happening. The news, if you look at a lot of the economic news overall, throughout this week, it's been very suggestive of how close we really are to the rate change happening. And you know what? There was actually one article. Let me tear into this with you guys. This one right here, this is what I wanted to show you guys. The title of this article right here, it says Rule of Law, Appointment of Heads of Parliamentary and Budget Committees to be finalized after the government formation. But let's look at this one right here. Budget committees to be finalized after government formation. So that means the step of working on the budget comes forward after the government formation. But we've already studied the 26 budget in great detail with overall with what details and information was available. News and information about the 26 budget is very suggestive. It's calculated off of the new budget value. New currency value, meaning pending the rate change pending. That to really move forward on the 26 budget, it needs the rate to change first, is what the information has been very suggestive about. So right here, look at this right here. It says they got to form the government first, then change the rate, then they can move forward on the heads of the appointments of heads of parliamentary and budget committees to be finalized after government formation, which really means also after the government's formed, but also after the rate has changed, okay? Good information here. It says the appointment of parliamentary committee heads in preparation of the federal budget are pending formation of the new government. Committee members may be selected during Ramadan. However, heads, deputies, and rapporteurs will only be finalized after the prime minister is named and after the government's formed. Parliament follows the principle that a bloc holding a ministerial portfolio cannot chair the corresponding oversight committee. Okay, federal budget situation, caretaker government limitation. The current caretaker government lacks authority to prepare or submit the federal budget. Okay, that's why, per the Constitution, they can't do anything with the budget until a new government's formed. And they're limited on even really approving certain laws too. Most laws can't even be approved while they're in a caretaker state or status. Fast track formation of a fully empowered government instead of legal workarounds. So again, the government has to get formed, the rate has to change, and then Iraq can move forward on all of their outstanding matters. And as you guys see, nothing is really moving forward right now in Iraq until that rate changes. Again, you're seeing that across the board. They keep talking about really launching the trade, okay? Launching the back-end trade systems like Ascudia, launching tax reforms, doing the 150 plus laws. None of that is moving forward till this rate changes or until after the government is formed. So when they finish forming the government, we've got to see what's happening in that. Again, there's a couple possibilities of delays, and the delays could simply be the war and military tensions with Iran, because the U.S. government has made it very clear that an Iranian influence will no longer be allowed in Iraq, okay? But also bankers created and scheduled the rate change, and they don't do anything without, bankers schedule everything. So I will guarantee you, that the rate change has a scheduled associated date with it. Okay? So we could be needing to get closer to the rate change date, or see what happens with the military influence, okay, between the United States and Iran. A couple possibilities there that we have to observe. And anyway, but as you guys see, all of this nonsense with Maliki, I've been telling you guys since day one with Maliki coming in there. Everything with Maliki was nothing more than a distraction. And as you guys see right now, the news is leaning, as we move forward, the news slowly is leaning away from Maliki. And today there was a solid handful of articles of Sudani as being the best preferred person. They don't even have a real alternative candidate to Sudani at this point. I just showed you one where it talked about 3 alternatives, which were 3 other former prime ministers. Okay, Kadimi, there was Kadimi, Maliki, and I forgot the third one in there. But again, there are 3 former prime ministers, and none of them have accomplished anything close to what Sudani has done overall for turning the country around, getting infrastructure back, schools, hospitals, facilities, that kind of thing. Their infrastructure has turned around tremendously and significantly. So just so you guys are aware. Let's look at your guys' comments, see if you have any questions on another screen. There we go. And in fact, you know what? Here, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna adjust this screen here to see if we can zoom in more on your comments. They're gonna be, you know what? It might be too. Yeah, forget that noise. It's too hard to read that, guys. I don't even want to do that. It's too hard to read. It distorts the screen too bad. Anyway, let's look at your guys' comments. All right. Good morning from Ohio. Good morning to all of you guys. Good morning. Morning from Florida. No sound. We do have. There should be sound on this. Okay. Hold on here. Good morning from Clearwater Beach. And you know what? Those of you guys that are on Substack, that's where we're having our post-rate change party is in Florida. That's where we're going. You are more than welcome for all the hard work, and thank you for you guys for contributing in. Someone's asking if the rate's going to come out 1-to-1. I'm in a 3+ range. I'll tell you why. I know there's other content creators that talk about this that state or suggest it's probably going to come out 1-to-1 with the dollar. I disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. You've got to ask yourself, again, you retrace the steps in this. What brought the value of the dinar down? Again, what lowered, back in 2003, when the war started, what brought the value of the currency down? It's called U.S. sanctions right now. The only remaining sanctions on Iraq are the U.S. Treasury OFAC sanctions. So if sanctions automatically brought the value of the dinar down, what happens when you take sanctions off? Wouldn't that, again, just going down common sense road with you guys, wouldn't that suggest it maybe reinstates, putting it back in the 3+ range? So again, you take the U.S. OFAC sanctions off, it puts it back to 322. But again, that was also 22-ish years ago. So maybe there might be some inflation or a cost of living increase on top of that. And historically, Iraq has always been above Kuwait. So if historically Iraq has always been slightly above Kuwait and or the value of their currency, you know, give me a second here, guys. I'm actually doing something on one of the screen I was going to show you. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds here. It's not coming up correctly, so I'm trying to see. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to switch screens here for you guys. Hold on. Right. Let me bring this down a little bit. All right. Right there in the middle. So today, the value of the Kuwaiti dinar against the US dollar is right where you see the mouse on the screen, 326. But again, study history. You've got to learn history to know what's going on, okay? So if historically Iraq was always had a slightly higher currency value than Kuwait, wouldn't it make sense again undo what was done. Again, undo what was done to lower the value of Iraq's currency value, called U.S. OFAC sanctions. So you take the sanctions off, the currency value reinstates back to 322. Put some inflation on that, or a cost of living increase for over 22 years. Probably somewhere in the high $3 range, just shy of $4. Okay, that's my opinion on that. All right, I hope that helps you guys. Let me go back to our comments here. Okay, anyway, so those shifted off the screen. All right, no worries. No, they didn't. They're right here. Okay. All right, so hey neighbor, thank you for the information. You're more than welcome. Thank you guys for hitting the thumbs up. Okay, so CBI is totally independent from the government, yet thank you, Frederick, but we are very much aware of that. We know they're autonomous. That's not, so, okay, so hold on. CBI is totally independent from the government on changing the rate, so I am beginning to think, even after the government is formed, no rate will be changed. Okay, well, Frederick, I would love to see your factual theory on that. Again, I would love to see. You can't just say, well, I just don't think. I mean, again, have a basis for it. Have an analyzed thought that supports what you're saying here. Okay, it says after the government is formed, no rate will be changed. That has nothing to do with the rate, unfortunately. Really? So, Frederick, you ought to go back and study history, because I have countless articles, where the central bank specifically stated in countless articles that the number one reason why the rate is not, or the currency value is not being reset, is because of political corruption. Okay? So again, Frederick, the facts disagree with you. So do statements from the central bank, because again, I've been in this for 17 years. The central bank has always stated, when they actually do come out, which is not very often, they've always stated the number one reason preventing them from increasing the currency value is because of political corruption. And in fact, Mr. Frederick, if you go back to around the end of last year, they clearly stated that these current elections that they're in the middle of right now, this current government formation, that this government being formed right now is the government that's going to walk the country of Iraq back into the next stage, or the next phase, meaning that phrase of the next stage, next phase, means the international world. They said that. That is not my opinion. So again, Mr. Frederick, I strongly suggest you go back and review real facts. Okay? And I have no, James Gracebud, I have no idea what you're saying. You say banks or redemption center to exchange. Okay, I guess you're asking, will it be banks or redemption centers? We'll just say there's some questionable content creators that since I've been in this for 17 years, that pump the whole redemption center theory, and to me that's more of a scam. I would strongly steer away from redemption center type information. I would lean more towards banks, but again, right now, countries that are on the U.S. Treasury's OFAC list, that's a list of countries that support terrorism. Right now, Iraq remains on that OFAC list of countries until they revalue their currency. That is the U.S. government's collateral to ensure the U.S. gets paid when the rate changes. Okay, it's that simple. That's the collateral used to ensure Iraq's going to revalue their currency and the United States gets paid, is the OFAC list of countries at which Iraq is on. So hope that helps you guys. That is it, guys, for comments and questions. So anyway, you guys are the best. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for everything you guys do. I hope you guys have an amazing, great, and wonderful weekend. Take care, and thank you for joining.